I think one of the challenges we've got, and several of you mentioned this problem, is that unfortunately the whole UC space has been kind of the latest, greatest buzzword thing. And so there's an awful lot of noise out here in the channel. There's one vendor, for example, that makes headsets, and they have their unified communications headsets on the market, whatever the heck that means. And I think we've seen this before. We went through the CRM era. We went through CTI, computer telephony integration. So we've been here before, and I think in some sense, unified communications is sort of the next great big buzzword, and everybody wants to hop onto that bandwagon. So I think sorting that out and really understanding what's important is going to be crucial for people going forward. And I think the vendors have a lot that they can say about this, quite frankly. And one of the things I'd like to just talk about is sort of what's available in the marketplace here in Australia and New Zealand. And from a product standpoint, I mean, each of you, either manufactures or represents various products. What are you seeing in terms of what's coming onto the market here in this country? And what seems to be getting traction? Craig?
And it's nothing too different from my point of view. We've been deploying what I refer to as like my colleagues over here. We've been deploying IP telephony since probably about 2000, and we've got over 180 odd clients that are rolling out IP telephony. And it's those clients now that are coming back to us saying, okay, the buzz, what that's been created around the industry, unified comms, how do we take our IP telephony, our dial tone replacement project that we've done, we've lowered our costs, we've got an ROI there, how can we take it up that value curve? Yeah. And within IBM, we have, our value curve has got 3 spots. So the first spot is around network convergence, IP telephony, lower total cost of ownership, the same thing that's been going on for a long, long time. The next part in the value curve is all around these productivity applications, calendaring, voicemail, email, unified messaging, presence, all that. And that's where we're seeing a lot of uptake at the moment. And then the final bit of the jigsaw puzzle that provides, organisations competitive advantage and so on is all around integrating that unified comms or the unified components elements, if you like, into business processes. So we are starting to see some clients talk about it, but I would say the fair amount of activity is still around dial tone for dial tone, and it's also around those productivity applications. So we're really defining it as twofold. There's UC productivity, and there's UC business process. And we're seeing a lot of UC productivity going on at the moment. And in our initial conversations with clients, you used to have the IT guy in the meeting, you used to have the CIO, who used to come into the meeting as well, and you'd also have your voice person within the particular meeting. Now more and more, we're seeing the applications people attending those particular meetings. And I know that our sales organisation, when they initially went out to speak to clients about converging, they used to talk about, what kind of existing PABX do you have, and that kind of conversation. Now, one of the first questions they may come across with is like, what do you use as your communication from your primary email? Do you currently use an instant messaging type of system? Mm-hmm. So the conversation's definitely gone into the application level.
I think it's pretty important, though, that we not get the IPT issues confused with the UC issues. Yeah. One of the big myths I think that exists in this marketplace, and Chris, you addressed this one yesterday, is this fact that you somehow have to have an IP solution in order to deploy unified communications. It's simply not true, and I think that it is very clear, as I stated yesterday, that quite often you can deliver more value, I think is a good way to do it, deliver more value out of an IP implementation by incorporating or adding on UC components and UC applications. That's something that is crucial quite often in terms of really getting the value out of it. But for those organizations that have a perfectly adequate legacy environment from a voice communication standpoint, it's quite possible to add significant UC capabilities on top of that in ways that will really bring value.
I run UC in my business. I have a digital phone on my desk.
Right.
I also have an IP phone on my desk, but I have a digital one that I use mostly.
Right.
And IBM, we're partnered with virtually every telephony traditional PABX provider, and we've got a piece of software that's coming out in Q4, or basically near the end of the year, called Sametime Unified Telephony. And what that does is it enables you to give all the feature functionality of what's incorporated within Sametime on your existing PABX. So even though we do a lot of integration work within my part of the business with predominantly Cisco and Avaya in this part of the world, effectively now every PABX vendor out there is an IBM business partner because of this new product that we've got to market.
But I think the importance there is, Craig, you made a comment before about saying that, you said IP telephony will become irrelevant. Telephony itself becomes irrelevant because unified comms is about communicating so many ways and finding the right way to communicate with the right people.
Whatever the platform is.
Exactly. A telephone call is a telephone call. Who cares whether it goes over a digital transport layer or an IP transport layer? You need to look at that from a cost perspective, but it's one element of your overall business case. And I think, telephone systems are fantastic for sweating that asset. If you can't get a good 10 years, even I've got customers that have got telephone systems that are 20 years old and they're still using them today and they're delivering the outcomes that they need. So, there is no thing that says unified comms equals you have to be on IP tel. You just simply don't have to be.
Yeah. Problems, quite frankly, with this whole industry is that many of the companies, especially in the distribution channels, are shifting boxes. That's what they're doing, and they've been very good at it. And certainly coming out of the legacy telecommunications equipment business, that was what was required because they were vertically integrated stacks, appliances, if you will, that one could simply, ship, plug in, configure, and let them go.
But it was also,
but it's a different world now.
They were hardware-driven solutions. Now they're software-driven solutions.
Yes.
So there's a shift.
And I think one of the things that I've noticed, I've got a very strong background in networking. I've been in the networking industry for quite a while, and this whole concept of SOA to me was very foreign. But now it's starting to really gel in this unified comms space to be able to have expertise and knowledge and be able to use these telephony products as services, the click to call, the contact center, the audio conferencing, the video conferencing. Effectively over time they'll just become services, and it's the SOA that will actually be able to integrate that into your business processes and your business applications. So SOA was a bit of you don't go down that particular path because it's a bit ugly, but there's more and more organisations that are looking at, deploying SOA type of technologies. They want to reuse their assets that they've currently got, their existing applications, and so it makes a lot of common sense that there is going to be a big shift, like you've said, and it's also going to be a big shift in mindset within organisations. The traditional people that used to look after the network or the telephony, they're really going to have to start getting their head around these business applications.